You know, Jeff, it's amazing. All this talk every day, trade, tariffs, trade fight, this, Trump going after tech, the NASDAQ, all it did was rise 5% this month, one of the best months of the year for tech stocks. Why?
Well, Sully, we got a chuckle about a month or two ago here on Worldwide Exchange that the NASDAQ 100 has become a safe haven, but it's absolutely true, and you see it. Look at the 200-day moving average. We are about 15% above that 200-day moving average. We haven't seen that in quite some time. But to your point, if you look at the Netflix, if you look at the Amazon, Netflix is up over 90%. Amazon is up over 70%. You are seeing assets globally. Whenever you see sell-offs in Europe or Asia, they're coming to the domestic market here in the United States, and they're buying tech. That does make me take a little bit of a pause here as we get to the end of the month in August. But you're absolutely right. Every time we hear some type of renewed trade conflict, it attracts assets to the U.S. stock market. U.S. Treasuries, not so much a safe haven anymore. U.S. NASDAQ 100, wow.
Yeah, well, I mean, is this going to be a wow for the rest of the year? I mean, you heard Joe Kernan say, some people are saying that the gains are in. I mean, the market is not telling us that, not yet.
I think you may have to buckle your chin strap a little bit here, Sully, because at the end of the day, the NASDAQ 100, that's where a lot of profits have been made. So in the event you see some type of pullback, and we have a lot going on in September. We have to digest the Fed. We certainly have the renewed trade conflicts, and it seems that President Trump has a lot of wind in his sails, a little more confidence than usual. Hard to believe that it's even possible, but nonetheless, this renegotiated NAFTA contract is really putting some wind in the sails and making him feel a little more confident going over to Europe. We saw some strong talk against the EU, but also in China. So I think that renewed trade conflict is going to present a bumpy road. And the NASDAQ, to my point, is a cash machine. When you see all those profits come out, that's where people will book profits and take money out of the market first. So I think you have to keep it in perspective. The NASDAQ 100 is up over 20% year to date. That is sensational. So a 10% pullback in that is still going to outperform the S&P 500.
Help us make some money. We're obviously, a lot of our viewers are going to be spending a lot of money on this long holiday weekend. Help us make some of that back. Can we just, buy volatility and let it ride for a short trade right now?
Well, I think you are seeing the VIX futures a little bit elevated in the last 24 hours due to some profit taken at the end of the month. But I think you have to look where people are not looking, right? We've seen a lot of pain in the emerging markets. We're also seeing some pain in the international market. So I think if you look overseas, we like an ETF, IEFA. That gives us some international exposure. We're also looking, a lot of people use EEM. You can also look at the ETF, IEMG. But I think when you're seeing that dollar rise, I don't see the dollar going straight up to 97. I think it's going to play a little back and forth and be range bound. There's a lot of rhetoric coming out of President Trump. So look for a discount overseas. But I do think the NASDAQ 100, as sensational as it has been, it's time for it to cool off a little bit, Sully. So make sure your allocation there is either booked a little bit or reallocated to that proper allocation you started at the beginning of the year.
Quickly, most important thing to watch next week will be what?
I think you have to watch the yield curve. I really think the narrative in the 10-year note is a very stark different to what's going on in this U.S. stock market. When you see the 10-year, the lower end of the range at 285, keep an eye on Treasuries. If they buy Treasuries, that means there's some pain coming down the road.
Jeff Kilburg, KKM Financial, CNBC contributor, Notre Dame graduate, and all-around good guy. Jeff, have a great long weekend with the family. Well, November 6th, buddy. You know it's coming. It's coming. Hokies, Irish. We'll see you soon.
We're going to beat Michigan first. See you soon, pal.